Hey Crafty Babes, it's Andrea. I'm back again to give you a little look inside my 2019 memory keeping plans. I have decided to go back to more of a full-sized album format for my family album. I'm still going to stick with 6x8s and smaller formats for personal documenting and special projects, but for my weekly family documenting, I am doing a 9x12 album. I've never done a 9x12 album, but when I was doing 12x12 albums, I was definitely using 9x12 pages inside, because if you followed me throughout my last 5 years of documenting in a 12x12, I love to mix up the sizes. So I will definitely be doing that again this year. So let me just give you the lay of the land a little bit for how I'm going to keep this album and some tricks that might be helpful. So first thing is I've made this little pocket over here on the back cover. So I want to be able to have an option like I did in my 6x8 albums of doing a weekly kind of calendar spread. If the week gets too busy and I've got like things I want to document in pockets, but then I've got some other little tiny stories that just don't fit. Or if I just want to, if my week maybe isn't full of photos, but I have words, there's like a lot of different reasons that I would use this as a layout. But it's just 8.5 by 11, and it's got Monday through Thursday on one side, Friday through Sunday on the other. And I'm showing you both the grid version and the lined version. So I do have these available on in my shop. I will leave a link in the description so that you can go grab some for yourself, and the PDF will come with both grid and lined versions. But I wanted an 8.5 by 11 so that I can just throw a page protector in here. But this could be used to print small photos, put a little story, do a tiny bit of decorating, put the date up here. If you watched any of my look inside videos from my 2018 6x8 family album, you'll know that I used these planner spreads throughout when I had either, too many photos for the week, or I just wanted to kind of keep everything together and not have to use pockets to document everything. So I will be printing out a bunch of these and keeping them in this little pocket so that I always have them ready to go when I need them. And I liked the idea of just having kind of not only an opening page, but an opening pocket. So it's just something kind of fresh and cool to see when the binder gets open. It's a little unexpected. I've never done anything on the inside of any of my albums before. And all I used was a scrap piece of Felicity Jane paper, and I used my glue stick to just glue along the edges. I have no idea how long that's gonna last, so I guess I'll keep you guys updated. I used some Carrie Bradford stamps. I used this stamp set right here. It's called By the Numbers. It's fabulous stamp. These numbers are such a great size. And I just stamped them on white cardstock and then fussy cut them around because I wanted them to stick up off the dotted paper, and I didn't want to stamp directly on the paper because I didn't want the black ink to blend in too much with the black polka dots. I just felt like if I gave them a white border, then it would make them stand out a little bit. And I used a little piece of washi, and I used my Dymo Express. I used this little guy to make that label that says by the week, and an LE Studio stamp that says Certified Real Life. So some of my favorite things, just so that it's kind of happy when I open it. And then I also put together my 2019 opening page, which has a mixture of a lot of cool stuff that I just picked up and stuff that's been out for a little while. So these three things here are all from the Reset Girl, and this was her homemade collection that came out either October or November. I forget which month it was. And then the other things are this, and this are all from Feed Your Craft, and In a Creative Bubble designed the January kit. I got the digital version. These are all digital supplies, and used use those in conjunction just because the colors went so well together. These are a couple of things from Reset Girl collections, and this is a Felicity Jane die cut. I used an LA Studio stamp here and layered some labels from Illustrated Faith. Also in a Creative Bubble, a little, she does the tickets, and I think they're just called tickets, but it's a whole page full of these really cool vintage looking tickets, like bus tickets and transit tickets. They're really fun. And then I printed out this picture of the four of us on my Instax printer, and I'm totally okay with the picture being sideways. You know, we're all humans and our necks can move, which is a really cool feature of the human body. And we can just turn our head a little bit and look and see what the picture is. There was no other way for me to make this happen unless I went all the way up to my computer and used a whole sheet of paper to print this picture out, because I didn't have it in printed form. So I made the decision to just turn it, you know, I mean, it had to be sideways on the Instax because it was a landscape picture. It wasn't a portrait photo. So anyway, too much discussion about that. It's like not that important, but just in case you're wondering why I turned it sideways, because it just wouldn't fit the other way. A couple of extra things that I did here was this had a little heart inside of this design, but I threw this little love circle on top because I liked that all the colors were there, like the green and the blue and the pink and the light blue are all represented. And then this had a little oven mitt icon here, but I didn't feel like that really went with what I was trying to say here. So I just put a little label, and then I used a flower printed on clear sticker paper, so if I could get those words out. And then here I used my typewriter to type in the ages of everybody. And yes, I did include my dog. She is 4. She is already 4. And then just used a couple of stamps and a little word strip from the Reset Girl. All kinds of fun goodies. And that is my opening page for 2019. A couple of cool fun tips is I had a lot of extra 12 by 12 page protectors, like an entire 12 by 12 binder full of them. And I kept hanging on to them for whatever reason, and clearly it's because I thought that one day maybe I would go back to a larger size album. And since I decided to do that, I had all these page protectors, but their whole configuration is different in this album than in our traditional like Project Life 3-ring albums. And what I was so happy to discover is that the 2 outer holes of all of the previous page protectors line up with the 2 outside ones here. So all I had to do was re-punch the 2 center holes, and I was able to reuse all of the page protectors that I had stored. Now, what I did with ones that were 12 by 12 size is I just trimmed them. So this was a design F, which probably had, I think it had 2 additional. These must have already been trimmed because I don't remember trimming these, but there's some others that I trimmed. Anyway, I went through all of my 12 by 12s and just trimmed them down so that they fit, so that they either were a 6 by 12 or a 9 by 12. So these are a bunch. So I did trim these because, well, maybe I didn't. No, these look like I didn't cut them. Anyway, I just used my paper trimmer on the outside of the seam, and then they end up being perfect for in here. Here I've got a design F. So yeah, I trimmed this side off because it has a 4th column. I did a bunch of those. And then I had some We Are Memory Keepers ones that were, I think those are 4x4s. Yeah, so are these 3x3? Oh, let me get my ruler. Let's check it out, peeps. Oh yeah, they are 4x4. So 4x3 would have been 12. There was an extra column that I trimmed off of these. There was an extra column I trimmed off of these 3x3s because there would have been 4 columns. A couple of the extra ones here. So actually these are the ones that came with the album. So these are the true 9x12 page protectors. Now, when I went to buy my album, all of the extra page protector variety packs were sold out. So I was really happy that it came with some, and I had some configurations that I could work with. So, and then in order to make that hole punching a little easier, that's what this template's for. So for now, because I only have one 9x12 album, I'm keeping all of my blank page protectors in this album. So it's just easy to get to them. I can keep my album out on my desk while I'm working. And then I always can be able to get to the page protectors. But in case I, let's just say I buy some 9x12 or some 12x12 page protectors from a non-Studio Calico or inked brand version, then I'll be able to have this template to know exactly where to punch the holes. And like I said before, these two outer holes are already punched. So I was just punching the inside holes. And the other thing I can use this for is when I want to use even smaller page protectors, like 6x8 pages in here, then I know where to punch things. Or if I wanted to put random pages inside of my album, like I wanted to do that, I could punch 1, 2, 3 holes and then insert anything I wanted. So having the template is a really super convenient. I do it for my 6-hole albums or 6-ring albums. Here is the one that I use for December Daily and my family albums from the 2018. You can't really see those holes, but here, there you go. Got to get the shadow underneath there. Now you can see them. So having the template's really great. That way you don't have to line up 2 slippery page protectors, one on top of the other, because they get real slippery and it's hard to get the punch always right. And again, I'm not super concerned about having to punch new holes or have an extra hole hanging out that doesn't get used. Like those things don't bother me at all. I'd rather just use up the supplies that I already have because I already paid for all of these page protectors and they're not cheap. So that is a look inside my 2019 family album, 9x12 album by Studio Calico. I'm really so excited to be back in a larger format. I'm still working on my 2018 family album, just finishing out the rest of the year and finishing up December Daily. But I'm really, really super happy to be in a bigger format. It felt like home when I was piecing all the cards together and trying to figure out how to balance it all with the white cards and the dark cards and color. And it just felt like home. It felt like something that was so natural to me. So if you're struggling with what format to use for this year, go to what's familiar. Don't stress yourself out over, I got to try something new, or everybody's doing this size or this format. If it's not comfortable for you, or if you're struggling with that size, do what's comfortable for you. Do what's going to get you motivated to get your family and yourself documented. So that's my Drea's tip for the day. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will be back soon with more look insides as I get through the album, and I really appreciate you watching and following along, and we will talk really soon. Thanks, guys.